Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a simple but dangerous question. Have you ever wondered why the same names rise to power, the same families dominate headlines, and the same types of leaders keep reappearing, while the promises of change rarely materialize? Why is it that the faces change, the slogans change, but the game remains the same? The answer is this: political success is not what the media tells you it is. What you see on the news, what you hear in speeches, what is fed to you through carefully crafted headlines, these are not the full truth. They are performances, illusions, shadows on the wall of a much deeper, invisible theater. The real success in politics, the kind that builds empires, bends nations, and decides the destiny of millions, operates according to laws that are rarely spoken about, laws that the media will never explain to you. And if you fail to spot these laws, you will remain a spectator in the arena of history, clapping for actors on a stage, while the true directors sit behind the curtain pulling the strings. But today we pull the curtain back. Today we expose what the media hides about political success. And I will show you how to spot it, how to understand it, and how to use the same principles in your own life. The media's game illusion this: reality first, let us understand the media's role. The media does not simply report the news, it shapes perception. It frames your reality. It teaches you what to think about, who to admire, and who to despise. It crafts heroes and villains. It inflates some names into giants and reduces others into irrelevance. But behind all of this, the truth remains: political success is never about popularity polls or sound bites or staged debates. These are surface, level ripples. The real currents of power run deeper, beneath the surface, invisible to the untrained eye. The media would have you believe that elections are won on charisma or luck or even chance. They will convince you that one candidate triumphed because they were relatable, or because their speeches went viral, or because they felt authentic. But if you look closer, you'll find a formula at work. Political success, just like success in business or life, obeys definite, unchanging principles. Principles of human psychology, of influence, of persistence, of alliances, of vision. The media distracts you with noise, but the truth is always the same. The individual who understands how to control minds, shape narratives, and project certainty is the one who will rise. The first hidden law, the power of definite purpose. Every political leader who lasts, every figure who rises beyond the noise, operates with a definite purpose. Purpose is the foundation. Without it, no campaign, no movement, no government can survive. The media tells you leaders succeed because they are good speakers or natural leaders. But look deeper. What separates the winners from the forgotten is the clarity of their aim. The man or woman who knows exactly what they want to achieve, who carries in their mind a burning vision of the future, becomes unstoppable. Even their flaws are forgiven because the world craves certainty. And here is where the media blinds you. They focus on gaffes, on scandals, on small controversies. But none of these truly decide a leader's destiny. What decides it is whether they hold firm to achieve definite purpose, a vision so strong that it bends reality toward it. And this law, my friends, is not confined to politics. It applies to your life as well. If you lack a definite purpose, you are swayed by every distraction. But if you fix your mind on one burning aim, you too can rise above the noise. The second hidden law, the mastermind principle. Look at the leaders who dominate history. They are not solitary geniuses. They are the heads of networks, the centers of alliances, the voices of movements larger than themselves. The media sells the myth of the self-made leader. They show you one person on stage and suggest that this person alone carries the weight of a nation. But the truth is, no political success is ever individual. It is always collective. Behind every speechwriter, there is a strategist. Behind every strategist, a financier. Behind every financier, a coalition. Political power is built on the principle of the mastermind, the alliance of many minds working in harmony toward a definite aim. If you can spot the alliances, you can predict the outcomes. While the media wants you focused on personality clashes and personal flaws, the true student of power studies the networks. Who aligns with whom? Who funds the message? Who stands to gain from the outcome? That is where the real story lies. And in your own life, this principle remains vital. Success is never a solo act. You must surround yourself with a mastermind group, people whose skills, perspectives, and energy elevate your vision. Without them, you are an island. With them, you are a nation. The third hidden law, the power of persistence. The media hides the grind. They show you election night. They show you the victory speech. They show you the overnight success. But what they don't show is the endless years of persistence, the defeats, the losses, the humiliations endured before triumph. They don't show the times leaders were mocked, ignored, dismissed, or even destroyed, only to rise again. Political success, like all success, belongs to those who refuse to quit. The headlines may declare someone finished. The commentators may say their career is over. But watch closely, and you'll see the ones who endure, who keep pushing, who learn from defeat, almost always return stronger. Persistence is invisible to the public because it happens in silence. But it is the law of destiny. The person who refuses to quit cannot be defeated, only delayed. And if you want to spot the future leader, don't look at who shines in the spotlight today. Look for those who refuse to leave the arena, no matter how many times they fall. That is where destiny gathers strength. The fourth hidden law, control of mind and emotion. Political success is not only about controlling others. It is first about controlling oneself. The media thrives on drama. They show leaders exploding in anger, stumbling under pressure, breaking down in weakness. But the leaders who endure, the ones who hold power for years, are masters of their own emotions. They know when to remain silent, when to strike, when to show compassion, when to project strength. They understand that the masses are not moved by facts, but by feelings. And here lies the great secret. The one who controls his own mind gains the ability to control the minds of others. Leaders are tested not in moments of triumph, but in moments of crisis. Watch who remains calm in the storm, who holds steady when the ground shakes. That is the mark of true success. And for you, the lesson is the same. The world will test you. Life will shake you. But if you master your own mind, no storm can drown you. The fifth hidden law, narrative over numbers. The media loves statistics. Polls, percentages, approval ratings. They bombard you with data. But numbers don't decide destiny. Narratives do. A leader may be outnumbered in votes, money, or resources. But if they craft a story that captures the imagination of the people, they will rise. Humans are not calculators. We are storytellers. Political success is always, at its core, about narrative. Who tells the better story? Who creates the greater vision of the future? Who turns struggle into triumph? The media hides this truth by focusing on spreadsheets. But the reality is far simpler. The leader who owns the story owns the people. And in your own life, understand this success is not only about what you achieve, but how you frame it. Tell your story with power, with conviction, with vision, and others will follow. The sixth hidden law, the courage to be hated, this, perhaps, is the most concealed truth of all. Political success does not come from being liked. It comes from being unshakably committed to principle, even when hated for it. The media will tell you that leaders must appeal to everyone, must be universally adored. But history shows the opposite. The greatest leaders are often the most polarizing. They divide opinion, they challenge the comfortable, they threaten the status quo. To lead is to be misunderstood. To rise is to endure attack. To change the world is to be hated by those who profit from the old order. And here is the test: will you seek comfort in popularity? Or will you embrace the fire of criticism in pursuit of destiny? The final hidden law, the vision that outlives the leader. Ultimately, true political success is measured not in elections won, but in legacies left. The media obsesses over cycles, over news flashes, over momentary victories. But the greatest leaders plant seeds that grow long after they are gone. Their vision becomes a movement. Their words echo beyond their lifetime. Their principles reshape nations. This is the final mark of real success: to live for something larger than yourself, to lead in such a way that your influence outlives your presence. Your call to action. So, my friends, when you ask what the media hides about political success, the answer is this: they hide the laws. They hide the law of definite purpose. They hide the law of the mastermind. They hide the law of persistence. They hide the law of self-control. They hide the law of narrative. They hide the law of courage. And they hide the law of legacy. But once you see them, you can never unsee them. You begin to read between the lines, to notice the patterns, to anticipate the moves. You begin to recognize that power is not random, not luck, not magic. It is built on timeless principles. And here is where this message turns to you. For the same laws that elevate leaders can elevate your own life. Political success, business success, personal success. They are all built on the same foundation. Decide your definite purpose. Build your mastermind alliances. Persist through defeat. Master your mind. Craft your narrative. Embrace the courage to be hated. And live for a vision greater than yourself. Do this, and you will not only spot political success when it happens, you will create personal success that no media outlet can deny, no critic can destroy, and no storm can erase. Because the truth is simple, destiny is not written in headlines. Destiny is written in the mind of the one who dares to master it. Let me ask you something that might shake you for a moment. Do you really believe that the rise and fall of political leaders is a matter of chance? Do you believe that one person suddenly catches fire with the people, or that an election is simply a roll of the dice where luck crowns one and destroys another? If you believe that, then you have been deceived. You have been led to accept illusions instead of realities. Because the truth is this: political victories are not accidents. They are not lucky breaks. They are not random storms of fate, and they are not strokes of fortune. They are constructed, engineered, and built brick by brick with invisible laws that have guided leaders since the dawn of time. The media, commentators, and even historians will often reduce political victories to simple narratives. They will say, he won because he had charisma. She won because she made the right speech. They lost because of bad luck or poor timing. These explanations may sound convincing, but they are superficial. They do not explain why some individuals rise from obscurity to command nations while others, seemingly more talented or qualified, vanish without leaving a trace. The deeper truth is this: behind every political triumph is a structure of invisible success principles. These principles are not reserved for politics. They are the same principles that govern success in business, leadership, and life itself. They are timeless, universal, and available to anyone who has the eyes to see them and the courage to apply them. Today, I want to uncover these invisible principles with you. I want it to take you beneath the headlines, beneath the stage debates, beneath the photo opportunities, and into the hidden architecture of power. Because once you understand these laws, not only will you be able to recognize political victories before they happen, but you will also discover how to build victories in your own life, victories that last, victories that matter, victories that are anything but accidental. The illusion of accidents, when you hear the phrase, political accident, what does it mean? It means the rise of a leader who seemingly came out of nowhere, who captured the imagination of the people, who suddenly became unstoppable. History is filled with such figures. Commentators call them outsiders, disruptors, or wild cards. But if you study their journeys closely, you will see that nothing about their rise was accidental. Behind every so-called overnight success are years of preparation, years of discipline, years of quietly applying invisible laws that eventually produced visible results. The accident is only in your perception. Because you did not see the hidden preparation, it appears accidental. But to those who understand success principles, nothing about it is surprising. It was destined. Just as in nature, when a seed sprouts into a tree, you might think it suddenly appeared. But the truth is that growth was taking place beneath the soil long before you noticed. Political success works the same way. Beneath the surface, invisible forces are shaping the destiny of leaders before the world ever takes notice. Invisible principle I1A, definite purpose. The first invisible principle is definite purpose. No political victory can be sustained without it. Purpose is the anchor in the storm. It is the compass in the wilderness. It is the burning aim that gives leaders clarity when others are confused, strength when others are weak, and persistence when others give up. The media often portrays leaders as riding waves of popularity, but popularity is fragile. It changes with every scandal, every headline, every trend. What endures is purpose. A leader who has a crystal clear purpose will rise above the temporary storms. People are drawn to certainty, and when a leader radiates that certainty, they gain a magnetic power. In your own life, think of this: how many times have you drifted because you lacked clarity? How many opportunities slipped away because you did not know what you truly wanted? Political leaders who succeed do not leave their destiny to guesswork. They define their aim with precision. They wake up every day with their purpose burning in their minds, and every word, every action, every strategy bends toward that aim. Invisible principle A2. The mastermind alliance, the second invisible principle, is what Napoleon Hill once called the mastermind. A single leader, no matter how brilliant, cannot create lasting success alone. Behind every political figure is a network, strategists, advisors, financiers, supporters, mentors, and allies. These individuals may remain unseen, but their combined influence is enormous. The media sells you the myth of the lone hero, the single candidate who changed everything. But the truth is that no one rises to power without alliances. These alliances form the unseen foundation of every political movement. Look for the mastermind group behind any leader, and you will begin to understand why they succeed. The invisible threads of collaboration, loyalty, and shared vision weave together a force far greater than any individual could wield. And in your own journey, recognize this success in any field requires allies. If you try to climb the mountain alone, you will exhaust yourself before reaching the summit. But with a mastermind, people aligned with your purpose, you multiply your strength, your ideas, your reach. Invisible principle, high 3, persistence beyond defeat. The third invisible principle is persistence. No leader escapes failure. Every great political figure has faced defeats, humiliations, betrayals, and losses. The difference between those who vanish and those who endure lies in persistence. Persistence is the refusal to be defined by defeat. It is the quiet decision to rise one more time after falling. It is the invisible force that transforms loss into fuel. The media often portrays success as linear, as if leaders simply rose from victory to victory. But the reality is far messier. Behind the stage lights are countless failures, forgotten campaigns, broken dreams, and bitter disappointments. Yet, the leader who persists refuses to let those defeats define their destiny. This principle is not just political, it is personal. Every setback you endure in your life contains within it the seed of an equal or greater comeback, if you persist. The only true defeat is surrender. Those who refuse to surrender become unstoppable. Invisible principle, way 4. Mastery of mind and emotion. The fourth invisible principle is mastery of mind. Politics is a game of pressure. Leaders are attacked, criticized, exposed, and tested constantly. The media thrives on chaos. They look for moments when a leader loses control, when anger erupts, when weakness shows. But the leaders who endure are those who master themselves. They remain calm in the storm, unshaken by criticism, unbroken by pressure. They understand that before they can influence others, they must first command their own mind. This mastery is not just about control, it is about direction. The successful leader channels emotion into conviction, channels fear into strategy, channels doubt into determination. The media hides this because it is not glamorous. It is invisible discipline. Yet it is the foundation upon which all visible victories are built. And for you, this is perhaps the greatest lesson. The mind you control becomes your most powerful weapon. The mind you neglect becomes your greatest enemy. Invisible principle, why 5, narrative over numbers. The fifth invisible principle is narrative. Polls, statistics, and data dominate headlines, but numbers do not win hearts. Stories do. A leader who knows how to tell a story about themselves, about the nation, about the future, commands influence far beyond numbers. The story becomes a vision, and the vision becomes a movement. The media distracts with data, but the people are moved by meaning. Every great political victory has been won not through facts alone, but through stories that ignite belief. Think of this in your own life. Facts may persuade, but stories inspire. If you want to move people, build a narrative they can live inside. Show them where they've been, where they are, and where they can go, and they will follow. Invisible principle, Wake 6a, courage to be hated. The sixth invisible principle is courage. Every great leader has been hated. Every true reformer has been attacked. The media may glorify popularity, but the truth is that no one changes the world by pleasing everyone. The courage to be hated is the courage to stand for principle when it is unpopular, to fight for truth when lies are more comfortable, to endure attack without surrendering vision. The leaders who last do not fear enemies, they welcome them, because they know that resistance is proof of significance. If no one opposes you, it means you have not shaken the foundations of power. This is true for you as well. If you avoid criticism, you avoid greatness. If you seek only approval, you will never lead. The courage to be hated is the price of living with purpose. Invisible principle, I7, timing and preparedness. Another invisible principle is timing. Political victories are not only about what is said or done. They are about when it is said or done. Leaders who succeed understand that timing is everything. They prepare in silence so that when the moment arrives, they are ready. The untrained eye calls it luck, but those who study success recognize it as the meeting of preparation and opportunity. Political victories are often decades in the making, disguised as sudden breakthroughs. In your own journey, remember your moment will come, but it will only matter if you are prepared. Success does not come to the unprepared. It crowns those who quietly built the skills, the vision, and the strength before the opportunity appeared. Invisible Principle 880. Control of information. Political success is also built on the control of information. The media may appear to shape perception, but those who truly succeed know how to shape the media itself. Narratives, leaks, scandals, and stories are rarely random. They are often strategically released, controlled, and directed. Political leaders who win understand that information is not just power. It is the battlefield itself. And in your life, think of the same. How do you control the story others tell about you? How do you manage perception, not through deceit, but through intentional clarity? Control of information means control of influence. Invisible Principle 8-9, service beyond self. The leaders who endure beyond elections are those who embody a purpose larger than themselves. They serve a cause. They live for a mission. They are remembered not as individuals, but as movements. The media focuses on personalities, but history remembers principles. Leaders who tie themselves to a vision greater than their own ambition outlast those who seek only power. And in your life, the same truth applies. The victories that matter are those tied to service, to impact, to something that elevates others as well as yourself. Invisible Principle 100 Day. Legacy is the final victory. The last invisible principle is legacy. Political victories may be celebrated on election nights, but the true measure comes years later when the leader is gone. Did they leave behind something that lasts? Did their ideas outlive their presence? Did their principles shape generations? Legacy is the final victory, the invisible principle that crowns all the others. And while the media obsesses over daily polls and fleeting headlines, the true student of success asks, what will remain when the noise fades? There is a truth about leadership that the masses rarely see, a truth buried beneath headlines, hidden beneath speeches, and obscured by the bright lights of popularity contests. That truth is this: lasting political power is not born from popularity, it is born from definite purpose. Popularity is fleeting. It shifts with the tides of opinion, sways with every scandal, rises and falls like a storm. One day the crowd cheers, the next day it jeers. The applause of today becomes the criticism of tomorrow, but definite purpose, that inner fire, that unshakable commitment to a vision greater than oneself, outlast the noise. It is the invisible anchor that holds true leaders steady when the winds of controversy, doubt, and opposition threaten to destroy them. We live in a world where media worships popularity. News cycles obsess over approval ratings, polls, viral clips, and trending hashtags. Leaders are measured not by their vision, but by how many people like them in the moment. But history has never crowned the most popular. It has always crowned the most purposeful. Consider this: the greatest figures who ever shaped nations, transformed systems, and redefined the destiny of millions were rarely the most popular when they began their journeys. They were often misunderstood, resisted, even despised. Yet they carried within them a definite purpose so strong, so unshakable, that it bent reality itself toward their vision. The fragility of popularity. Popularity is the most deceptive currency in leadership. It feels valuable, it feels powerful, but in truth it is fragile, unstable, and unreliable. Popularity can be bought with slogans, with empty promises, with rehearsed smiles and carefully engineered performances. Popularity can be inflated by media campaigns and staged optics, but just as quickly as it rises, it collapses. The crowd is fickle. The applause of the masses is never permanent. A single mistake, a single unpopular decision, a single shift in narrative can destroy years of carefully constructed image. History is full of leaders who rose on the wave of popularity, but disappeared because they lacked purpose. They mistook approval for authority, applause for power. They believed that being loved equaled being strong. But when the storms came, when the real tests of leadership arrived, their lack of definite purpose was exposed. They drifted. They faltered. They were replaced. The unshakable power of definite purpose, on the other hand, is indestructible. It is the compass that guides true leaders through storms of opposition, through the fire of criticism, through the chaos of uncertainty. A leader with definite purpose is not swayed by every headline. They do not crumble under every wave of resistance. They know what they stand for, and because they know, they endure. Think of a ship at sea. Popularity is the wind. Sometimes it blows in your favor, sometimes against you, sometimes it disappears entirely. But definite purpose is the rudder. Without it, the ship drifts aimlessly. With it, the ship stays its course no matter what the winds do. Definite purpose gives leaders an inner strength that no external force can break. It gives them resilience in the face of setbacks, courage in the face of enemies, and clarity in the fog of confusion. While popularity is built on the shifting sands of emotion, definite purpose is built on the bedrock of conviction. Purpose creates vision. What is purpose if not the fuel of vision? A leader without definite purpose cannot see beyond the moment. They live only for the next election, the next applause, the next headline. They trade long-term progress for short-term approval. But a leader with definite purpose sees beyond the horizon. They see what others cannot. They envision a future not yet visible and work tirelessly to bring it into reality. It is vision born of purpose that ignites movements. People may be entertained by popularity, but they are transformed by vision. They may follow a celebrity for amusement, but they will sacrifice for a leader who carries a definite purpose that resonates with their deepest hopes. This is why the leaders of lasting power are not those who entertained the masses, but those who gave the masses a direction, a goal, a destiny to fight for. Purpose breeds courage. Leadership is not for the timid. The path of purpose is always lined with resistance. Every great change threatens entrenched interests, and every great vision disturbs those who profit from the status quo. A leader without purpose retreats at the first sign of opposition. They cave to pressure. They abandon their principles when attacked. Their loyalty is to their own popularity, not to the truth. But a leader with definite purpose cannot be bought, cannot be silenced, cannot be shaken. Their courage does not come from the crowd's approval, but from the fire within their own soul. When critics shout, they press forward. When enemies scheme, they stand tall. When allies desert them, they endure, because their compass is not external, it is internal. Purpose outlives popularity. The ultimate test of leadership is not whether you are cheered in your lifetime, but whether your work outlives you. Popularity dies when the crowd disperses, but purpose plants seeds that grow long after the leader is gone. The greatest leaders in history left legacies not because they were loved in their time, but because they lived for a definite purpose that future generations recognized as truth. They were ridiculed, resisted, even hated while they lived, yet their purpose became the foundation upon which nations, movements, and civilizations were built. The names we remember, the leaders whose statues we build, and whose words we quote, are not remembered for their popularity. They are remembered for their purpose. The media's distraction. The modern world is intoxicated with popularity. The media thrives on it. They report approval ratings as if they were sacred scripture. They obsess over polls as if numbers revealed destiny. They bombard us with stories of who is likable, who is relatable, who is trending. But this obsession blinds the public to the deeper reality. That popularity is an illusion, a temporary mask, a trick of the spotlight. It hides the fact that the leaders who endure, the leaders who truly shape the course of history, are those who build their lives and their power on definite purpose. If you want to understand political success, do not ask, who is popular today? Instead, ask, who carries the clearest purpose? Who holds to a vision with unwavering conviction? For in the long arc of history, it is purpose, not popularity, that always prevails. The law in action, let us consider the mechanics of this truth in practice. When a leader with definite purpose speaks, their words carry a different weight. They may not be polished, they may not be universally adored, but their conviction is undeniable. People sense it, they feel it. They recognize authenticity even when they disagree. When such a leader faces adversity, they do not panic or retreat. They adjust, they adapt, but they do not abandon their purpose. This consistency builds trust. Even those who oppose them know where they stand. And when such a leader builds alliances, those alliances endure because they are tied not to popularity, which fades, but to purpose, which remains constant. Purpose stabilizes power. It gives movements resilience. It makes organizations unbreakable. It forges legacies that last for generations. The danger of popularity-driven leadership. Now let us contrast this with the leader who depends on popularity. Their every decision is dictated by polls. Their every action is calculated to please the majority in the moment. They abandon principle for applause. They sacrifice long-term progress for short-term gain. Such leaders cannot be trusted even by their allies because they have no anchor. They are as unstable as the crowd itself. When challenges come, they lack the courage to stand. When criticism rises, they crumble. When the crowd turns, they are destroyed. And history forgets them because they stood for nothing but themselves. The personal lesson, though this truth applies to political power, it is just as relevant to your own life. How many people live as slaves to popularity? They make choices not based on purpose, but on approval. They conform to trends. They silence their true desires out of fear of criticism. They trade authenticity for acceptance. But such a life, like popularity itself, is fragile. It collapses the moment approval is withdrawn. If you want true power in your life, power in business, power in relationships, power in destiny, you must build it on definite purpose. Decide what you want. Fix your mind on it. Refuse to be swayed by critics, doubters, or distractions. Stand firm in your vision, even if it makes you unpopular. For popularity will fade, but purpose will carry you across every storm. The formula of purpose. Driven power, let us reduce this truth to a formula: clarity of purpose. Know exactly what you want and why. Conviction of purpose. Believe so deeply that no opposition can shake you. Consistency of purpose. Align every action with your vision, refusing compromise. Courage of purpose. Endure criticism, resistance, and loneliness without retreat. Communication of purpose. Share your vision so clearly that it ignites others. Continuation of purpose. Plant seeds that will grow even when you are gone. This is the path of true, lasting power. A final reflection: when the lights fade, when the applause quiet, when the polls are forgotten, only one thing remains: purpose. And the leader who builds their life, their influence, and their power on definite purpose will always outlast the one who builds it on popularity. Because popularity is a shadow, but purpose is the substance. Popularity is a wave, but purpose is the shore. Popularity is a spark, but purpose is the fire that never dies. The world has always celebrated the solitary genius, the inventor alone in his laboratory, the entrepreneur working late into the night, the leader standing on a stage commanding attention. We are taught from childhood that greatness is achieved through individual talent, personal brilliance, and relentless self-reliance. But if you look closer at history, if you study the lives of the most successful leaders, the most powerful movements, the most enduring empires, you will find a different truth. It is not the solitary genius who moves the world. It is not the one who claims all credit, who works in isolation, who believes that personal talent alone can conquer every obstacle. The true power that reshapes nations, ignites revolutions, builds wealth, and leaves legacies is found in what I call the mastermind principle. The alliance of minds working together toward a definite purpose, a common goal, a shared vision of achievement that no individual could accomplish alone. Let me make this simple and yet profound: a single mind, no matter how brilliant, is limited. It can conceive ideas, it can dream, it can struggle and stumble. But when two or more minds come together, when those minds harmonize, combine strengths, balance weaknesses, and fuel each other's ambitions, something extraordinary occurs. Energy multiplies, ideas expand, challenges shrink, barriers that once seemed insurmountable dissolve into opportunities. That is the invisible force behind every great enterprise, every great political movement, every extraordinary success story. Consider the great movements in human history. Look at revolutions, at empires, at businesses that transform society. Rarely do you find a single person who accomplished everything alone. Even the figureheads, the names etched in gold in the history books, are supported by a network of minds, a circle of advisors, collaborators, mentors, and thinkers who lend their experience, insight, and creativity. These alliances are not accidental. They are deliberate. They are formed with intention, cultivated with care, and maintained through a shared commitment to a common goal. The mastermind principle is a law, not a strategy. It is as precise, as predictable, and as powerful as gravity. It cannot be ignored without consequence. Those who attempt to work alone, who dismiss the value of collaboration, who believe they can achieve everything through talent alone, often find themselves stalled, frustrated, and defeated. The world is too complex, the challenge is too great, the opportunities too vast for one mind to navigate alone. But when minds unite, when collaboration replaces isolation, everything changes. Knowledge becomes exponential. Creativity becomes contagious. Resources once limited become abundant. Obstacles that once seemed impossible now appear as mere stepping stones. This is the secret behind the success of the greatest leaders and the most formidable organizations. This is the engine that drives movements that cannot be stopped. Yet, there is a common misconception about the mastermind principle. Many believe that it is merely a gathering of people in a room, a committee that meets and discusses ideas. That is not the case. A mastermind is not a casual meeting. It is not a networking event. It is a deliberate alliance of individuals who bring complementary skills, diverse experiences, and unwavering commitment to a shared vision. Each member contributes not only knowledge and insight, but also energy, focus, and determination. Each mind supports, challenges, and elevates the others. Each mind becomes a catalyst for the collective power of the group. Napoleon Hill, who first defined this principle, taught that no individual has sufficient power to achieve great success without the cooperation of others. He emphasized that when two or more minds work in harmony, a third, invisible force is generated, a force that transcends the sum of the parts. This force, this intangible energy, is what enables the creation of wealth, the execution of grand visions, and the manifestation of outcomes that once seemed impossible. Consider the example of a business empire. One individual may have vision, one may have strategy, another may have capital, and another may have connections. Alone, each is limited. But when these individuals unite in a mastermind, their collective strength can build industries, transform economies, and influence the lives of millions. One mind dreams, another plans, another executes, and another multiplies the impact. Together, they become unstoppable. The mastermind principle is not limited to business. It applies to every arena of life: politics, social movements, science, art, and personal development. Look at political revolutions. Rarely does a single leader create a movement alone. There is always a circle of allies, advisors, strategists, and supporters who amplify the leader's vision, provide insight, navigate challenges, and inspire the masses. The individual may stand at the forefront, the figurehead, the symbol of change, but behind the scenes, the power of multiple minds working in harmony is what shapes destiny. Even in personal success, the mastermind principle holds true. No one achieves greatness entirely alone. Mentors guide, peers challenge, advisors advise, and supporters motivate. Those who seek to rise above mediocrity, who aspire to achieve extraordinary results, understand that their own knowledge and skill are finite. To multiply impact, to overcome limitations, to achieve the impossible, they must align with others of like mind, ambition, and purpose. But the formation of a mastermind requires more than simply gathering talented people. It requires trust. It requires respect. It requires a willingness to be vulnerable, to share ideas openly, to admit weaknesses, and to accept guidance. It requires commitment to a shared vision that transcends personal ego. Too often, individuals resist collaboration because they fear losing control, because they fear that others may overshadow them, because they cling to the illusion of solitary brilliance. This fear is the greatest barrier to their own success. The mastermind is built on synergy, the principle that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. One mind may see a problem from one perspective, another may see a solution from a different angle, another may provide the energy and determination needed to implement the plan. Together, the collective intelligence of the group far surpasses what any individual could generate alone. This synergy is not accidental. It is deliberate, nurtured, and refined over time. History provides countless examples of this principle in action. Consider the scientific breakthroughs that have reshaped the world. Rarely was a discovery made by a lone genius. Teams of scientists collaborated, shared insights, challenged assumptions, and built upon each other's work. The invention of electricity, the exploration of space, the decoding of the human genome, all of these achievements were products of collective minds working toward a unified purpose. In leadership, the same law applies. A single charismatic figure may inspire followers, but without a circle of advisors, strategists, and thinkers, the inspiration fades. Movements falter. Policies fail. Dreams collapse. Those who understand the mastermind principle leverage it to create enduring influence, to build organizations that outlast them, and to leave legacies that impact generations. The mastermind also magnifies personal growth. When you align with other ambitious disciplines and like-minded individuals, you are challenged to expand your thinking, refine your ideas, and push beyond your perceived limits. You absorb knowledge, you gain perspective, you cultivate resilience, and you accelerate your development. The mastermind is not only a source of collective power, it is a crucible for personal transformation. Yet, there is a subtle truth about the mastermind that is often overlooked. The power generated by the alliance of minds is not merely intellectual. It is spiritual, emotional, and psychological. The energy, focus, and determination of the group create a force that can influence circumstances, inspire action, and bend reality toward the vision of the group. This is the invisible force that Napoleon Hill described, a force that multiplies the potential of every member, creating results that exceed expectation. Forming a mastermind requires deliberate selection. It is not enough to gather a group of friends or colleagues. The individuals must complement each other's strengths, compensate for weaknesses, and share a commitment to the same vision. They must be willing to hold each other accountable, to challenge assumptions, and to maintain integrity and focus in pursuit of the goal. Only then does the synergy become exponential. The mastermind principle also requires communication, honesty, and openness. Ideas must flow freely. Feedback must be given and received without ego. Conflict, when managed constructively, becomes a catalyst for innovation rather than a source of division. The mastermind thrives on diversity of thought, balanced by unity of purpose. It is important to note that the mastermind principle does not diminish individuality. Each member retains unique talents, creativity, and initiative. But when aligned within the group, these individual strengths are amplified, not diluted. The result is a force that can move obstacles, create opportunities, and achieve goals far beyond what any single mind could conceive. In the modern world, where challenges are increasingly complex, the mastermind principle is more relevant than ever. No single individual can navigate the intricacies of business, politics, technology, or society alone. Collaboration is no longer optional. It is essential. Those who cling to the illusion of solitary genius are doomed to struggle, while those who embrace collective intelligence accelerate toward success. Even in adversity, the mastermind principle provides resilience. When challenges arise, the group provides support, alternative perspectives, and solutions that a single mind may not see. The burden of difficulty is shared, the weight of responsibility distributed, and the momentum of the vision maintained. This is why movements that embrace the mastermind principle endure, while those that rely on solitary effort falter. The mastermind also teaches humility. It reminds us that no matter how talented we may be, we do not have all the answers. By engaging with others, we expand our vision, enrich our knowledge, and deepen our understanding. The humility to learn, to adapt, and to integrate the insights of others is a hallmark of every successful individual and leader. In the end, the mastermind principle is about connection, collaboration, and conscious alignment with others who share your vision and values. It is about harnessing collective intelligence, energy, and persistence to achieve goals that transcend individual capability. It is the invisible engine behind every movement, every empire, every legacy that stands the test of time. Those who understand this law, who embrace it fully, gain an advantage that cannot be measured by money, influence, or fame alone. They gain the force of combined minds, multiplied determination, and unstoppable momentum. They understand that true power lies not in individual brilliance, but in the harmonious collaboration of many, united in purpose and relentless in action. And as you reflect on this principle, remember this: your own journey toward success, wealth, influence, and fulfillment can be accelerated beyond measure when you align with a mastermind. Seek out those who inspire, challenge, and elevate you. Build alliances based on shared vision, integrity, and mutual benefit. Learn to give as much as you receive, to contribute energy as well as absorb it. The path of individual effort alone is limited. The path of the mastermind is limitless. It creates movements, ignites revolutions, builds businesses, reshapes industries, and leaves legacies that endure long after the individual members have passed. To harness the power of the mastermind is to tap into a force that is invisible, yet undeniable. It is to recognize that no great achievement is ever solitary. It is to embrace collaboration as the ultimate multiplier of human potential. And so, if you aspire to achieve extraordinary results, if you dream of leaving a mark on the world, if you seek to rise above mediocrity and forge a destiny of significance, then understand this principle, live it, and cultivate it. Surround yourself with minds that challenge and inspire you. Engage in alliances that amplify your vision. Commit to a shared purpose that transcends personal ego. Through the mastermind, you will find not only power and success, but clarity of thought, resilience of spirit, and the energy to transform ideas into reality. It is a law that is timeless, universal, and unbreakable. And as you take this truth into your life, remember that the world is full of opportunities, obstacles, and moments that test your resolve. Those who rely solely on themselves will stumble. Those who embrace the mastermind principle will rise higher, move faster, and achieve what once seemed impossible. This is the secret behind unstoppable movements, enduring empires, and extraordinary success. This is the invisible engine that drives the world forward, that multiplies vision, that transforms effort into results, that turns ordinary men and women into extraordinary leaders, that